Hey friends, it's Jordan. Welcome back to another video. Today we are making 3 very delicious, tasty side dishes, veggie side dishes that is, that you can pull straight from the freezer. And they're ready in 20 minutes or less. Let's get started on my first recipe, which is what I'm calling clean plate green beans. To start, we just need a medium to large skillet heating over medium heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on. I am using a non-stick ceramic skillet. You can use a regular saute pan, that's fine, because what we're gonna do is heat 1 tablespoon of ghee in the pan. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put my 1 tablespoon of ghee into the pan. Ghee is basically just butter with the dairy removed, so it's a great option, and I think it makes the green beans taste so good. I mean, what doesn't butter make taste better, right? While the ghee is melting and the skillet is getting hot, we can go ahead and prep the rest of our ingredients. And this recipe is super minimal, very low ingredients. We just have a shallot and some thyme that we need to prep, and everything else is pretty much throw it in the skillet. So I do have 1 shallot here. It's just like a medium to large shallot, and I'm just gonna mince it up. I'm going to mince them up like I do onions. You just want them kind of so like small enough so they just kind of like melt into the green beans. That's a really mild onion flavor, so I find that, you know, most people like them, even if they have like a very strong aversion to, you know, regular onions. The reason that I'm calling these clean plate green beans is because my husband Jack and I have this joke that I'm always the first one to clean my plate because I'm just a fast eater, which is something I need to work on. But when I make these green beans, he's always done first. So, yep, he just said that's right. Something magic about him. Shallot is all minced now, just a nice rough chop. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that into the ghee in the skillet. Oh, hear that sizzle, and it's gonna smell so good here in a second. After you are starting the pan with some onions and some oil, always add a little pinch of salt. That little pinch of salt will just help pull the moisture, and it just helps them like sweat down and cook a little bit faster and get nice and tender. So even if the recipe doesn't say to do that, I always do that. Let the shallot cook down for 2 to 3 minutes, doesn't take long at all. And while we're doing that, I can go ahead and prep my thyme. So I am using fresh thyme, those herbs that it's so hard to kill. It's a perfect one to have growing in a pot out back, and it just, it just smells so good. I've got like 4 or 5 sprigs here in total, and what you want to do is just hold it from the top and pull it down and get all the little leaves to come off. Where did my knife go? Give the thyme a really rough chop. The leaves are already really small, but the little rough chop, just running your knife through it just a bit, like kind of releases like the oils and the fragrance. Using this prepared minced garlic. It's minced garlic and extra virgin olive oil. I love fresh garlic. I hate chopping fresh garlic. I'm gonna use 1 teaspoon of minced garlic. Shallot is nice and cooked down now. I am going to go ahead and add our green beans. I've got a 12-ounce bag of whole frozen green beans. The great thing about frozen vegetables is they're already like kind of pre-cooked. So basically we're just warming them through, getting them nice and tender, and it doesn't take long at all. We're like cutting the cooking time in half, and frozen vegetables have just as much nutrition, sometimes even more. All right, in goes our 1 teaspoon of garlic, our chopped thyme. And I like to start with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I'll taste it at the end, check for salt, see if it needs more. And some fresh black pepper. Just going to give that a quick toss so that the salt and the pepper gets coated. Let that saute for 5 to 7 minutes or until the green beans are cooked through and tender. Beans are now ready. I'm just going to taste test them, see if I can get one here. 1/4 teaspoon of salt was perfect. A little more pepper. Here is my clean plate green beans. I would say this serves a good 3 to 4 people. Usually when Jack and I have it, we have a little bit left over, depending on your serving size and depending how hungry you are. And honestly, depending how much control you can have in not eating them, because they are so good and you will eat them so fast. Our next recipe is for cilantro lime cauliflower rice. Super simple take on cilantro lime regular rice, but we're just going to use riced cauliflower, that is frozen riced cauliflower, in place. Perfect side dish for your Mexican nights, for your Southwest nights, for nights that you would typically have some type of like cilantro lime rice on the side. This is going to be your go-to if you're trying to get more veggies. And I also always tell people, if you're new to cauliflower rice or don't think you'll really like the taste of the cauliflower rice, or it just like won't be as satisfying for you as rice would be, you could do this recipe and add like a cup or two of regular cooked rice to it. That's a really great way to like get used to the flavor of cauliflower rice. So definitely give it a try and just kind of use this as your base recipe. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am going to use 1 tablespoon of avocado oil in my nonstick ceramic skillet. It's a really great grain-free, gluten-free, low carb side dish, if you will. We're gonna go ahead and throw in our frozen cauliflower rice. To that, we're also going to add 3 different spices as well as salt. Using 2 teaspoons of onion powder, 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder, and just a pinch, like 1/8 of a teaspoon to 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. That little tiny bit of heat just gives it that kick that you really need, but of course you can omit it if you do not like spicy at all. I've also got 1/2 teaspoon of salt in here that I'm going to add as well. Frozen cauliflower rice that you find at the grocery store will already have salt added, so just check the label. You may need to add more or less salt depending on the brand that you buy. You just don't want to over salt it. Just kind of mix it up so that it's all coated. I like to cover the skillet for about half the time, so I'm going to cook it for about 8 minutes. So for the first 4 minutes, I'm actually going to have it covered. And I've covered it. This just helps it kind of cook faster. Really helps the cauliflower release all its liquid, and then we uncover it and all that liquid can kind of evaporate and it's going to be perfectly cooked. So I have 1 lime here. All I'm going to do, I'm going to first roll it. That helps kind of release the juices. Never a dull day in this household. Before we cut it, we need to zest it. Very hard to zest a cut lime. I've tried many times and I always regret it. I have like a handhold grater, zester kind of thing, and we're gonna zest the whole lime, or as much of this flesh of the lime as you can get off of it. Lime zest just has a really good concentrated flavor, and I think it is really what makes it taste so good. There are so many great ways to use riced cauliflower. You can obviously make something like this, like some type of rice dish. You can also throw it in so many things. Like I've thrown cauliflower rice into spaghetti sauce, thrown it into soups, like the chicken noodle soup. I also use it in smoothies sometimes when I don't want it to have like a green color, but I want to still have some veggies in my smoothie, and it makes it really thick and creamy and icy like a milkshake without having to add a lot of banana or ice. Always have a few bags of cauliflower rice in my freezer. Our lime is zested. I'm going to go ahead and cut my lime in half so it's ready to go when I'm ready to juice it. 1/3 of a cup of cilantro is what you need. Just gonna give it a really rough chop. Jack's not a huge fan of cilantro, but he does like this dish. He just doesn't like a ton of cilantro. I love these easy side dishes from the freezer because I'm prepping everything as things are cooking. I love a recipe with multitasking because I hate just sitting and waiting and not doing anything. So these are like the perfect recipes for my weeknight. As our timer, which means we are ready to take the lid off. You wanna break up any of the frozen chunks that still haven't broken up yet. Cauliflower rice is nice and tender and fluffy. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat down to low, and we can go ahead and add all the rest of our ingredients. And I'm going to start by adding the juice of 1 lime. This is a juicy lime, oh my gosh. I'm like getting sprayed with lime juice right now. Add our cilantro and our lime zest. I am dying to taste this cauliflower rice. Oh my gosh. You guys have to try this. Like a little extra kick from that cayenne. Ooh, ooh. That That is so good. I would serve this cilantro lime cauliflower rice like chili. You could do salsa chicken. You could do salsa shrimp, even like salmon rubbed with chili powder, carnitas, serve it with eggs and some salsa. Really nice vegan bowl, and have this be your base along with some sweet potato for healthy carbs and some black beans for protein. I'm gonna go ahead and dish this up, and then when we come back, I am going to start on my third and final recipe, which will be balsamic roasted Brussels sprouts. I have my oven preheating to 400 degrees. I'm just going to go ahead and prep the rest of my ingredients. I have half of a red onion here. I think red onion and Brussels sprouts go so well together, and the taste of roasted red onion is just so good with any vegetable. So I'm just slicing it kind of thin, like I would say like a 1/4 inch thick. The frozen Brussels sprouts that I bought are actually whole Brussels sprouts. Let me show you. So what I'm going to do is halve them. Pretty easy to do. You just need to set them out on the counter for like 5 minutes, and they're easy to slice through. I find that I see Brussels sprouts on menus nowadays like all the time as appetizers, and they're always like covered in bacon or feta cheese, or like there's always like so many toppings and flavors going on, and they are always really delicious. But I do find my favorite way to prepare Brussels sprouts is when it's just really, really simple. So something like this, and it just makes it so much easier and more doable on a weeknight to just do, you know, simple Brussels sprouts with a couple different seasonings and flavorings. Sorry, Jackson's getting a drink of water. You all done, buddy? Love when the little like bits of leaves from the Brussels sprouts kind of fall off, and they're the pieces that get like extra super crispy. I love those. Brussels sprouts are actually like a little mini cabbage. So they're in the cabbage family. So they're in the same family as all the cruciferous vegetables: kale, cabbage, cauliflower. Love to have at least one cruciferous vegetable at least every day. We need to make a marinade and seasoning for the veggies. So I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. Again, I like a high heat oil like avocado oil. 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. This is just going to give the Brussels sprouts a really nice, sweet, tangy flavor without adding any sugar. To add a little bit more tang and a little like just a little kick, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. Eyeball it, just a little teaspoon. 1/2 teaspoon of minced garlic. And stir that up a little bit. Go ahead and add our onion and our Brussels sprouts right in there. Because we're using frozen Brussels sprouts, they're gonna cook so much faster than fresh veggies. Perfect for a weeknight. Almost forgot to add salt. I'm going to add 1/2 teaspoon-ish of salt. A little bit of pepper, why not? Really great holiday side as well. So something super simple and easy that you could have on a holiday table. I've got a sheet pan lined with parchment paper here. Just going to put the veggies on the sheet pan. Just going to spread these out. You want to make sure the veggies aren't all on top of each other so that air can circulate around them and they can get nice and crispy and they won't steam and get soggy. We are going to roast these for 15 to 20 minutes or until the tops of the Brussels sprouts start to look golden brown and crispy. Ooh, look at these babies. Oh, look at that. Roasted Brussels sprout goodness. I can't help myself. I just need to find one little one to try. There's a little guy. 2 thumbs up. Outer leaf is a little crispy. The inside is nice and tender and juicy from the balsamic and the Dijon, a little salty. I've got all my vegetable sides that came straight from the freezer. Very minimal ingredients, big flavor, and they were done in 20 minutes or less. These would all go so fantastic with whatever you're serving as the main dish, whatever protein you choose. One of these sides, I'm telling you, is going to be the perfect accompaniment to it. Make sure to check out the description box below. I've got all the recipes written out there, as well as links to the recipes on my blog so that you can pin them and save them for later. Let me know in the comments down below what recipes or themes you want to see in the next cooking video, and let me know which one of these recipes is your favorite and you're going to try first. Subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you can get notifications for when I upload a new video. I will see you soon for another one. Bye!